And to start off the meeting, would anyone like to motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Great, thank you. So we're going to start with committee updates. And with that, Caitlin Dellinger, if you could go first with campus climate and give everyone the exciting news, that would be wonderful.
All right, guys, big news. Town Hall with Father Peter is officially a go. So it's going to be the week of March 8th, and they are asking us what day we prefer. So apparently he has a pretty open schedule that week. I'm thinking 10, 11, or 12, which is Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So I wanted to gauge and ask all of you your opinion if you thought it'd be nice to have it maybe Wednesday before the Senate meeting or Thursday after the Senate meeting, after we could talk about it maybe, or Friday if people think that people would show up on a Friday. So if anybody has strong feelings about it, you can let me know. You could shout it out right now if you want. Thursday from Derek.
I think it should be Wednesday, so it's fresh in our minds, and we could just talk about it right at the end of the
Okay.
session if you want to.
So we're kind of split Wednesday, Thursday.
Do you want me to put a poll out, Caitlin?
Maybe.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Oh, lots of Wednesdays. I'm also thinking if it's Wednesday, maybe I can throw in a little plug for Father Peter that our Senate meeting's right after, and maybe we could have a special talk with him.
What are the dates again? It's either Wednesday,
Thursday, or Friday.
Okay. All right. Guys, I'm getting good at this whole Zoom thing, but I'm not fast with it. I'm sorry. Okay. Here we go. All right. Okay. Polling to you people. Here we go. When do you want town hall with FP? Fill it out. 0 votes for Friday. I kind of like that energy. I'm really not gonna lie to you. 22 of 24. Even if you don't think you're supposed to vote, please vote. Caroline. Okay. So we have, all right, 2 people haven't voted, which is cool, but it's 15 to 7 Wednesday. So.
Okay, awesome. So I will probably request a 6:30 to 7:30 time frame. And then if it goes a little over, that's fine. I'll get you guys the details about how exactly we're going to do it, because I'm not sure if we're going to do Zoom or Facebook Live or what we're going to do. I'll talk more specifically with my committee on their ideas about that. And then we will also be coming up with a theme. So if anybody has any burning questions, you have a couple weeks, because I need to get them to him ahead of time. So a couple weeks to let me know. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Derek, go right ahead with Mission and Social Justice.
Yeah, so last week we talked about how Feast of the Friars, we went back to the drawing board. Joe had a really good idea that we do, his concept was Friar Fridays, where we have a friar up, we just post them on our Instagram story or just on our Instagram in general, some basic facts. You get to know your friars from home. Joey Holland actually came up with Friar Fridays, so a little shout out to him for that. So we're kind of moving ahead with that idea, and we'll keep you updated.
Great, thank you. Brett Walsh with ICC, go right ahead.
So I met with Lauren Kleckner last week, who's the assistant to the provost, and I went through all the logistics with her, how it would work, and she thinks we should maybe do a different name because it's going to be over Zoom, so there's going to be no pizza, so it's should you still name it that? But she's emailing me this week with potential dates. She said she would just bombard me with a bunch of dates, and then I could pick, because I mentioned that we didn't obviously want it the same week as Town Hall with Father Peter. So also now that we have the date for that is helpful too. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. So I have the update from Chaley for the Student Life Advisory, which says student organization virtual awards filming is going to be done the week of the March 8th, and the final video will be uploaded to OSI's webpage. They're still waiting on the delivery for the Nova Nook, and she's trying to schedule a meeting with dining services for this upcoming week. And then from Austin Lynn regarding the caucus, we're waiting for Joe to set a meeting with Austin and Cash to do one final like differentiation that they're gonna have to spell out in the Constitution, and after that they're gonna work on the bills and the amendments in the next one like week or two. So we should have things for the new committee by the middle of March. But yeah, so that's it for Senate updates. And Miss Levine, if you would like to go ahead and do exec and community first.
So, Community First is meeting tomorrow, and we also met last Friday. So, first, the biggest thing of the week is the weekly Community First email updates that are going to be going out on Mondays. And my biggest thing with that is that they've asked us for feedback. Like, the whole point of these emails, like, really, there's no like news being broken in them because anything that they're sharing can already be found in the FAQ on the website or anything. However, the whole point of them is to make students feel like they're getting the communication they need and make sure everyone feels like they're updated. So if there's things that like your friends are asking you or that you're wondering, definitely text me and I will literally text them to the person who's writing the email and she'll work on incorporating them. So I think that is important because I know like a lot of us have been feeling like there's not been tons of communication. We're also looking at ideas on keeping morale and motivation going. I know it's like a huge thing everyone's talking about right now that like everyone's kind of hitting a wall with the pandemic if you somehow hadn't already. So we're definitely looking at ideas for doing that for Community First. The big takeaway of the week is that we have to encourage students to hold each other accountable. Um, there's been some things with like for instance, I know that Dean Tumlo and Dean DeMarco have been helping do rounds with the RAs a little bit and stuff, but at the end of the day, like students have to also be willing to call each other out and hold each other accountable. And then the last thing was that for right now, it's important that everyone, and I know they posted a clarification about this today if you follow Community First, everyone needs to keep following the guidelines regardless of your antibody or vaccine status for right now. So that means that we're sticking with a 14-day quarantine for everyone because we have had people who have tested positive on like the 13th or 14th day of quarantine. So we're sticking with that. And then also, I know the CDC had some updates this week about like if you have a vaccine, you probably don't need to be quarantining. But for right now, Villanova is sticking with our current procedure on that. And then on the SGA side, Amanda and Ivanitza and I have been working on a lot of staff thank you initiatives. Today we gave pretzels to PubSafe and the parking office because that's what they wanted. And then we're doing a meal for the Student Health Center staff next week. And then we also are compiling some messages for all of them. And then as I see that Joe is not here, we're also working on some thank yous for the student life staff and the community first staff. Amanda attended a RISE session last night, which is like the resource initiative that student involvement's doing for all student orgs, and got to talk about SGA's racial justice plans and kind of how we're moving forward with a lot of that work. And she's also working on some new projects and also trying to bring back the leadership summit, which is something we used to do where we would like meet with different admin across campus. We dropped off more bags for our friends at the inn and the DoubleTree, so hopefully people are getting those goodie bags from SGA. Amanda and I are having a repeat of our film careers this Friday. We're making a video about how to get surveillance tested, so I know you all love watching me and Amanda film things, so please, don't hold your breath on that one. And then also the the Equitas Task Force committee has sent out invitations to students that will be joining, and I know that several of you are included in that. And finally, one event that I wanted to plug is that Cachet is facilitating an event with the Departments of History and English tomorrow. That's called All Too Precedented, January 6th, and the Long History of White Supremacist Violence in America. So I'm going to drop the link, and I highly recommend just because not only is the event itself going to be interesting, but also it'd be great to support Cachet. So, does anyone have any questions for me about Community First or otherwise?
If I could say one thing, I had a meeting with Joe today, just on my weekly meeting with him, and he made mention that student government students are getting reported and or mentioned in the community accountability form. and also just through breaking COVID protocols. So kind of as a hold students accountable, guys, please be careful what you do. It does reflect to a degree on the organization, as you do represent someone like a larger group than just yourself. So please just think about your actions and the consequences that they can have, especially on you, like personally getting kicked off campus or quarantine at home or what that may be, but also on the bigger picture. So thanks.
Okay, cool. If no one has any questions for Caroline, I do just want to say, so we are recording the meetings now, and if you guys weren't aware, we used to do live streams, like when we would meet in person, and we would post those. But now we have a YouTube channel, and so we're going to post the meetings, and the YouTube is going to be linked to the website. And from there, we didn't record the meetings originally because last semester was chaotic anyway, and we didn't really have anywhere to put them, but we have a solution now. So that's what I've got. Does anyone else have anything for the good of the group? Okay. So with that, we are going to move into item 1, which is the confirmation hearing of our new Interfraternity Council Senator, Mr. Sam Foray. I know Sam, I've had class with Sam, he's a really nice guy, so I'm just going to let him go ahead and introduce himself to you guys.
Hi guys, I'm Sam. Like Lucy said, I've had a class with I think actually a lot of you before. Let's see. I'm going to be the senator for IFC. Lucy just told me about it yesterday, actually. So anyway, I'm excited to be here. I've always kind of wanted to do SGA at some point, so I guess I get a little bit more of both. What I'm in on campus. So through IFC, I'm a member of PICAP on campus. Other than that, I've done Special Olympics. That's like my favorite thing on campus to do. I'm big into the philanthropy we have here, especially I did Rays of Sunshine for a little while as well. And I used to be on the Villanova and I was one of the editors for a while too. So it's kind of all I got going for me on campus these days.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Now go ahead, Eric.
Questioning, Lucy?
Not good.
All right, people. Reactions, raise hand. Derek, go ahead. Just go ahead.
Thank you. Sam, I just have a question. Is it daunting, like, when you're, like, called into, like, the Senate? Like, is it daunting right now? Like,
Honestly, no. So like this is like weirdly reminiscent. I did a club in high school, so I'm from Pennsylvania. I did a club in high school called Youth in Government, where it would be like a literal mock government for a weekend. And we would literally have to do this. And instead of like, so I did house. So they would literally call me in front of like 400 kids and they'd be like, speak now. So like,
really?
it's been a while since I've done it, but like this isn't too bad, honestly.
It's crazy. I was just wondering what it's like to, like, sit in front of, like, the Senate, you know?
I also know a lot of like you guys. Like I know James, I know Lucy, I know Grace. Like I've met Chase before. I'm trying to see who else is in this. I've met Rachel before. Like so like this isn't honestly too daunting. I see you guys on campus all the time anyway.
Oh, I'm glad.
Great. Thanks, guys. Awesome moment. Jake Algano, go right ahead.
Hi Sam, welcome. I would just be curious as to like with the whole like quick turnaround all that like what are your expectations and understanding as far as like what we do here and like the process of what we do and if there's anything of like particular note that you'd be excited to be a part of within the organization.
Yeah, I think honestly I mean Lucy was telling me before how you guys actually have a vote like kind of like parliamentary procedure, which I'm kind of excited for because I think you always like see on campus like the community guidelines and all this stuff about SGA and then you're like I wonder how they get to that. And now I'm like, wow. In like one day, I'm now in it now. So that's kind of exciting.
Awesome. Andrew, go ahead.
So one big focus of SGA this semester is DE&I initiatives. And so we have a big like constitutional amendment, and Austin wasn't here to present on it tonight, but how do you think that you will your role and the people you represent will be able to kind of get behind those initiatives that we're working on?
So wait, can you just like tell me what the amendment is or like describe it for me just so I like actually know what I'm answering a little bit?
Austin would be able to do this a lot better, and I know some other people would
Yeah.
well, but he's kind of revamping the Senate with our approach to DE&I and the different diversity groups on campus. Because right now we've kind of given an unfair advantage to some organizations as opposed to others. And so kind of trying to find a way to kind of give everyone an equal platform to be represented in the student body.
Yeah. So, especially as it relates to IFC, that was one of the things when, if any of you guys know Eric Goins, he's the head of IFC. That was one of the things in my interview that was like the big thing because obviously Greek life has a problem with diversity. They're not the most diverse place on earth. So, one of the things, and I've talked to Nino or mentioned it to him in passing, he's going to be the diversity chair for IFC. Whereas in terms of where that comes into play here, that's going to be one thing of like more philanthropy events, more combined philanthropy events. So like I know Brett's in beta, like not saying anything for you, Brett, to do for like the philanthropy for like War of Roses or anything like that. But like I know that for PyCap specifically, one of the things is they wanted to combine with other groups on campus to one, give more awareness to those clubs on campus, and then also raise some money in the meantime too. And that's kind of the consensus on IFC right now.
James, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess similar vein. You're now a junior on this campus. What is one thing that you wish you could change on this campus, and how can we help you with that?
Let's see. I mean, I think the one thing I would change on campus, I mean, especially now, is because like, so I rushed when I was a sophomore, so I came to it late as is. And one of the things that really struck me was like how like obviously it's like Greek life and they don't let everybody in, which is on some ways kind of unfortunate. I wish it was a little, but like that's like the one thing of like this huge like exclusionary period that like you were like it's annoying to me to think about that like for certain clubs, especially on campus, like you could say one thing or do one thing, and if one person doesn't like it, you're gone. And that's like something that I've like been a huge proponent against for like the last like 2 years as I've been like trying to like do clubs and get involved in things and certain like that. I knew that coming into Villanova that a lot of things were interview based, like to be on the Villanova and you have to interview for certain things and things like and stuff like that. So that was something that I wanted to be more like inclusive.
I do not see any
Motion
other.
to complete.
Second.
Lucy, we just love interrupting each other,
We're
don't
just
we?
going. I'm loving it though. Pick it up. All right, let's debate, people. Derek, go ahead.
Sam, I think you seem pretty cool. I'm excited to welcome you into the Senate. It also sounds like you have some previous experience as well, which is really cool. So I look forward to working with you.
Andrew Klein.
Thanks.
Just happy to see another seat being filled because this has been vacant since the 6 freshman senators at least have been added to the Senate. So it's exciting to see some of these roles refilled.
Point of clarification, the seat has not been open the entire time. The turnover for the IFC seat is by calendar year. And we did not have a representative until their exec board was chosen within the past 3 weeks. So, point
You
of
can
clarification.
blame Eric for that one.
It's not my fault. Tom DeSoy, go right ahead.
I was gonna say, like Sam, you seem like a really great person who's very open to a lot of people, especially on the basis of diversity and inclusivity. So I mean, I can't wait to work with you. You seem like a really great guy and choice.
Anybody else?
Motion to vote.
And with second.
Second.
All those in favor of confirming Sam Foray as IFC senator, please say aye.
Aye.
I
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Woo! Yay! That means you're good. You're confirmed. Well done, Sam. Super
God,
scary part.
you guys made me blush so hard. That was so sweet at the end.
Yeah, we're just such a nice, loving group of people. Awesome. With that, we can move into, so now you can question, debate, vote, do whatever you gotta do. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and turn it right on over to Mr. Latman and Miss Frank and Mr. Garcia. Go right ahead, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lucy. So, everybody, if you look at this Senate resolution that we have on the docket tonight, we are looking to suggest and ask politely the Elections Commission to look into having debates for this presidential and vice presidential election season. So, the resolution is formatted by way of letter. And so it'll be placed on the desk of John Michael Kinsella, I believe, and then also hopefully be placed on JJ's desk as well. We understand that, and we address it within the letter, that given COVID and everything, that it has been certainly a struggle to put the elections together thus far. And the first kind of two paragraphs of the entire resolution serve to thank the Elections Commission as well as OSI for their relentless commitment to Villanova. And then the second part, the third and fourth paragraphs recognize that the debates are really a powerful way of showing the constituents the candidates for president and vice president. And we just think, the resolution is put out here to represent us as a body and just say that given like the social activism that has occurred within 2020 based on the previous like national presidential election that we had, we think it would be best to have a debates, if at all possible. We do leave that in there. Again, this is not a bill. This is not saying we will have debates. This is just saying, the Senate of the student government, we support the notion, and we'd be grateful essentially if we were able to have debates for those candidates that decide to run for president and vice president. I will answer because I feel like this would be a question. There is no mention of having debates for class senators or school senators in here. So it's just president and vice presidential.
Jose or Steph, do you guys have anything to add?
Derek summed it up pretty clear.
Yep, Jose stole the words right out of my mouth, so.
Great, thank you guys.
Motion to open questioning.
Second.
Tom, go ahead.
I think you're muted.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't know I was muted. But Derek, I know you just brought this up, but my question was like, why specifically presidential and vice presidential candidates instead of senatorial positions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this year has shown us beyond anything else that Amanda and Caroline, as they've been, have really been in, to quote from Hamilton, the room where it happens, right? So we, as senators, we do a lot of different things. Outside. Chase, did I just see you give me the eye? We do a lot of things that are legislatively arranged, right? So we're not necessarily in Father Peter's office as much, and our roles are a little bit different as opposed to what you might expect from the president. And so I think when choosing the president who's going to lead the executive branch, and have that real face time with Father Peter, we should put our best foot forward in terms of that election. If we had the time, if we had the resources, if we had the energy, we would certainly be going for those alternate elections as well, with the class senators and the school senators. However, there's just not time and energy for it. And certainly, if we were to have an election, I believe that it would be on Zoom. That again is for the election commissions and OSI to decide if they were to consider it. However, I think that just given the position and given the amount of work that Caroline and Amanda have done this year, I think that their positions warrant the most consideration from the constituents.
Thank you.
Chase, go ahead.
Derek, I love the idea. I'm just wondering, did you happen to just have a conversation with John Michael to see like the reasoning behind why like there were no debates planned out in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the reasoning there, from my understanding, I had a quick conversation with John Michael. My conversation primarily with Josh was with Josh Sy, because John Michael was unavailable at the time. But I know that Josh and I had a pretty good conversation. And Josh did say that actually he put it on the docket, and talk about it at the meeting that they just had at 7 p.m. But what the resolution is aimed to do, Chase, is just to put that suggestion in there, that if they were to consider putting debates on, the Senate would very much support it. Because to be honest with you, I think at the end of the day, the Elections Commission, from my understanding and my perspective, are really for having having these debates. However, I think we just need to get it past OSI as well. And not to mention as well that this, we most of us, the majority of us who are class, not me, but class senators or school senators, you guys have been right through the elections commission, and I do think it's a very thankless job as well. So I think the point of this resolution, alternatively from suggesting debates, is to thank them for the amount of work that they've done.
Don't see any other hands up for questioning.
Motion for a roll call
No,
vote.
no.
Wait, I had a
no,
question.
No,
I just
no,
don't
no,
understand.
No.
nope. Stop talking. Everyone stop talking. We are still in questioning. Preston.
Hi, I really do like this idea. I think a debate is really cool. Especially for like people who are rerunning for their seats in Senate. It's like a good way really just to get to know the candidates, because I know personally for me, like I really only know Caroline just because of her active role in the Senate. My question is like logistics wise, who would, host this debate? Would it be the Senate? Would it be the election commissions? Would it be like Amanda and Lucy? And like also with like questions and stuff like that, would students get input to like have topics that they want to ask, like be able to ask throughout the debate? That's just like my questions.
Sure. Preston, those are very good questions. Unfortunately, I don't have the authority to answer all of them. So I will say that in the past, the Elections Commission has been responsible for running the debates. So that is John Michael and one of his associates, perhaps does he have a co-chair? Lucy, as a clarification, no?
Michael is technically his co-chair or like number 2 in charge. Michael Stefan.
So I believe it would be, but John Michael and Michael that would be responsible for hosting the debate, or they'd be selecting someone to do it. But that's the way that it's occurred in the past. But keep in mind, guys, as well, that this resolution is simply just saying, hey, SGA would support having debates if they were to occur. We don't include any details. It's not a bill. It's not an actionable item that's saying, oh, this will occur. We're not bringing down the hammer in any sense. We're just voicing our support for something if it were to happen. Preston, you had a couple other questions in there. Do you mind restating a couple of them?
I mean, you did clarify, because the fact that this is like a support letter and not like really like an action, then I think if it were to become an action, my questions would become relevant again. So thank you, Derek.
Right, and the Elections Commission, Preston, is totally separate. It's an independent body from SGA. So they essentially have all authority when it comes to that. But just I think it's the second whereas, Lucy, if you don't mind scrolling up. That the Senate does, according to our Constitution, have a responsibility to concern itself with the activities of all student organizations. And because the Elections Commission is a student organization, that's something where we just would say, hey, we think this is a really good idea.
Thank you.
Caitlin, go right ahead.
Thank you. I guess just my question is why I think it's hard to see the for me to see the reasoning behind this without elections commissions here to explain why they're not planning on having them. If that makes sense, like I just don't understand what's necessarily like why this is needed. Why do we typically voice our support? I feel like that's kind of a given. And if we are going to take this as kind of like a, hey, we really, really want elections commissions to have debates, I don't know. I guess my question is, why would it be too much to include the other ones too? Because they would be planned the same way as debates in the past. It would just be a virtual format. So I guess, why is this necessary? I don't see a problem with it. Why is this necessary? Like, what is the end goal?
Sure. Well, I think it seems the question as I'm perceiving it, Caitlin, is that we kind of nitpicked in particular at the presidential and vice presidential kind of election, right? Instead of just looking for the general. And so, to the best of my knowledge, the reason that they're not having the debate is because they replaced that debate model with a component of like you send in a video, right? So that was the way I believe our six freshman senators came into the organization. They submitted a video, or the opportunity to at least, and they weren't afforded a debate at the time. I think that's correct. Maybe they can mention it in debate. But so I do think that we can take it a little bit farther, given I mean, look at Lucy See, for example, she is like doing those polls on Zoom. I mean, like there are people that do like panels and stuff like that with attendees. I'm sure that's how Father Peter's event is going to work in some way, Caitlin. And so I think that we can certainly like afford the ability through Zoom or through Facebook Live or something like that to have debates. I just think that it wasn't necessarily something that you know um, they were quite willing to just jump into because it's a whole different kind of setup, especially for students to handle.
Gotcha.
So.
Thank you. I think I was just a little lost as to like why they weren't doing them in the first place, but thank you.
And you know what, Caitlin, if I were afforded the opportunity when bringing this to John Michael, because I'm in communication with him as well, but I would suggest that we have senatorial debates as well. Naturally, that can get a little bit more tricky, I think, just with suddenly adding 4 different grades and different classes and schools and everything like that. But I'll definitely mention it. Thank you.
Motion to open debate.
Second.
Let's go. Jake.
I would like to speak in favor of the bill. I think Steph, Jose, and Derek did a good job of like drafting something that's respectful, that serves 2 purposes, offers thanks, while also providing like a gentle nudge for something that we care about. And I think especially just in any small way, any kind of like small victory that can lead to a live event in whatever form for interested students right now on campus is always a good thing. So I will be voting yes.
Thank you. James, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak in favor of this. I just think the gravity of the positions that vice president and president have, I think they deserve to be fleshed out a little bit on both who the people are and the campaigns that they're running. I don't particularly trust that just to a video. I know that campaigning virtually can be difficult, so I think this is a great opportunity to get that out there. And yeah, with that, like I said, this helps EC with OSI because if OSI, is indifferent, this might be able to help them encourage to get support with like a webinar type event or something like that. So I look forward to voting yes.
Thank you. Gisette, go right ahead.
I'm going to also speak in favor of this. I was kind of going to say what James said, just I feel like, especially for the president and the vice president, it needs to not be like a popularity contest. People actually need to know like what their platform is and what their campaign is. And since their audience is not going to just consist of people in their classes or like in their grade, they definitely need to like have a platform to reach like every grade level and every like college. So I think a debate is the best and most efficient way to get their platform out there.
Great, thank you. Andrew, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, like Derek mentioned, in the fall for our freshman elections, we were asked to submit a video that answered 2 of 4 prompts, and I think that's what they're going with again with this election right now. But in the fall, they couldn't figure out the logistics of what to do with those videos, so they ended up not going out anywhere. So it was kind of just our article in the Villanovan that went out the week of elections, and then kind of whatever we individually posted. So I definitely think that some sort of formalized event that like we can kind of get on the calendar and say that we had this if someone wonders where that information was. I think that's definitely something that we should be supporting. I would also like to see if Caroline would like to comment as a presidential candidate on her thoughts of adding something like this to the already daunting election cycle.
I do not find it appropriate for me as a candidate in the election to comment on the setup of it.
Very fair. Thank you.
Oh, political queen. Chase, go right ahead.
Yeah, I would like to speak in favor of this bill. I think the nature of the presidential and vice presidential race in terms of SGA is like very different. For senators, I feel like our debates are basically just us sitting at a table answering questions, and we can do that through our little videos that EC is having us do. So I think definitely having the platform to have like the debate style is important. I mean, like last year we had that. And it's important to kind of see that nature of comparing platforms. So definitely, I'm in full support of having the president and vice president tickets debate.
Great. Thank you. Maggie, go right ahead.
I'm definitely going to speak in favor for this. I think having debates are really important. In a video, you can be very polished and say exactly what you want to say, but I think in a debate, you're put on a spot. It's a little bit intimidating, but your authentic self comes out, and I think that's what constituents really need to see.
Motion to roll call vote.
Oh, can we not roll call? Can we not roll call, please? Do we really need to? Guys, sorry. Here you go.
Wait, what?
Derek, you're the one that counts the votes, okay? We're doing this.
I was so ready.
Too bad. Coming in.
I just want to say Derek direct messaged me to make sure that I said roll call vote.
He wants to know who's on his side and who's not. Okay, well, with 22 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, this resolution passes. So everyone can relax now, which is really exciting. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This is good work. Like, this is okay. Derek, do you have something to say?
Everybody but Caroline can relax because she might get a debate now.
Okay, so we also, these videos are going on YouTube for everyone to see how our meetings go. So I'm really loving the nature of this. I hope anyone that watches this, like, everyone wave right now so that the person
Like and subscribe.
like and
Follow
subscribe. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Happy Wednesday. See y'all later.